myself. My name is Marcin Gołębiowski. I am Deputy Mayor of Starachowice, and together with my colleague, Ms. Elżbieta Gralec, we would like to welcome you all to Starachowice. Especially that we have a special guest. Not only guest, but I think our friend, Mr. Hawarda Chandlera.
Thank you.
Hello, and welcome home. Welcome home. And today we would like to show you our town. We would like to discuss with all some historical moments, and also we would like to introduce you our new friends, newcomers of our town, new representatives from Ukraine, and also we would like to share with you all good practices, how we changed in Starachowice. So maybe I will give a speech, Mr. Howard.
Honored guests, I had a few words prepared on a piece of paper here, and I get a little bit emotional, so I don't divert and take up your time. Sufficient to say for me that whenever I come here, it is with great emotion that I come here. I was born and raised here up to a point, up till I was 12 years old. And after this, life was interrupted. And I remember the good times, and I remember the poor times. I still remember my school principal, my favorite teacher, my nice neighbors. I was speaking to the lady here, and we talked. In fact, her parents or grandparents live right across from us. Isn't that some coincidence? Some coincidence. And if you are away, if anybody is away from their birthplace, you always come back. You always come back to your roots. In searching of something, true or not, something that was lost. And the loss here was great, because I come from a Jewish community here, from a very vibrant Jewish community here that existed in Wierzbnik, Starachowice, Wierzbnik. And I remember, of course, my family. I remember my neighbors. And since there was a vibrant Jewish community, and you look around now in town, there isn't a single Jew left here. Some people want to know what happened. What happened to them? The Jewish population in Poland was 10%. It's almost nothing now. Almost nothing now. Is Poland better, or is Poland worse off without the Jewish community here? And that's a question, amongst others, that have to be given thought to. I don't come here to complain to the people. I come to revisit particularly the Jewish cemetery. That's the only sign in town. Maybe there was another sign put up since, thanks to the administration, to the previous administrations in town, that was erected, that the Jewish community ever existed here. Many people don't want to come back to Poland. Former Polish citizens, Jewish Polish citizens, Jewish citizens, or Polish or Christian Jewish citizens. It's all a conglomerate, whatever you want to pick. And this is why I come back, especially with young people, with Classes Without Borders organization, with people who are teachers and students who also want to know what happened. It's a matter of history. It is very important for them to learn, especially if they're so inclined to do. So thank you, Zippy, for organizing the Classroom Without Borders, for the teachers and students who are joining this group. I hope you learn from each other. We will learn from each other. I was hoping in the past and into the future that our students will interact with the Polish local students and there will be discussions. Everything of value is worth discussing. And from discussions comes out good. It's healthy. Oh, I can say a lot. I will turn it over to Ellen to speak about the Classroom Without Borders. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, what? Okay, thank you. It is my honor to be here today. I've been asked to say a few words of welcome on behalf of Classrooms Without Borders, our Executive Director, Dr. Sapura Gur, and our Board of Directors, and of course myself, Ellen Resnick. Thank you so much for hosting us today. We are traveling here today with 48 educators and students, most of who are not Jewish, alongside Howard Chandler and his daughter Hetty, as we take this journey. We thank you very much for hosting us today, and we look forward to learning more about your town and its history. Thank you.
Okay, so together with us, I would like to also introduce our interpreter, Ms. Jolanta Nowak. And during my speech, I would like to show some facts and figures about the Jewish community in our town, in Wierzbnik. So I switch into Polish, and our interpreter will translate everything. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Great pleasure to be with you.
Szanowni Państwo, jeżeli mówimy o historii Starachowic, oczywiście bardzo ważnym elementem i bardzo ważną częścią społeczności Starachowic i Wierzbnika była właśnie grupa mieszkańców pochodzenia żydowskiego, Żydów.
Dear sirs, if we are saying about the community of Starachowice city, you would like to press that the most important group of the part of Starachowice, which is Wierzbnik, was the Jewish community of our town.
Jeżeli mówimy o liczbach, to możemy tutaj podkreślić, że mniej więcej pod koniec XVIII wieku pierwsze grupy mieszkańców Żydów pojawiły się w Starachowicach.
If we are saying about the digits, numbers, you would like to say that at the end of the 18th century, the big numbers of the Jewish community members appeared in Starachowice city.
Takim bardzo ważną datą z historii Starachowic, ale również Wierzbnika jest rok 1939, ale 1 kwiecień 1939 roku, kiedy doszło do połączenia miasta Wierzbnik i osady Starachowice i utworzenie jednej miejscowości Starachowice-Wierzbnik.
The very important moment in the life of Starachowice was the date 1st of April 1939, when the part of Wierzbnik, called at this time, joined to the Starachowice and became one body like Starachowice city. So it was the connection of the two parts and becoming city of Starachowice. 1st April 1939.
I na potrzeby właśnie takiego połączenia były przeprowadzone statystyki, jak wygląda ułożenie mieszkańców pod kątem ich pochodzenia. I na 14,5 tysiąca mieszkańców Wierzbnika około 4 tysięcy to byli Żydzi, więc możemy mówić, że ponad 1/4 wszystkich mieszkańców to byli właśnie mieszkańcy pochodzenia żydowskiego.
Statistics at this time shows that the number of population, 14.5 thousand people of Wierzbnik, so 4,000 were representatives, were the Jewish community. So it shows that it is 1/3 of the community of Starachowice were part of the Jewish community.
I to był ten okres, kiedy to była największa liczba Żydów, którzy mieszkali w Wierzbniku. W Starachowicach, która właśnie była osadą, tam na około 10 000 mieszkańców, około 40 osób to byli Żydzi. Natomiast to było miasto typowo przemysłowe, osada przemysłowa, więc tam byli głównie tacy robotnicy, którzy pracowali w fabrykach położonych wtedy na terenie Starachowic fabrycznych.
Starachowice era at this time and also today used to be very industrial era, and most of the people represented were involved in the industrial life of the city, and joining these two parts made that the Jewish community had an important part of this era.
Bardzo taką ważną dla nas datą, dla mieszkańców Starachowic, ale też dla osób, którzy zarządzają miastem, będzie rok 2024, kiedy będziemy obchodzili rocznicę 400 lat od nadania aktu lokacyjnego dla Wierzbnika.
The very important date for the local governors will be the year 2024, when we will celebrate 400th anniversary of joining these two communities, and to give the law, status law for the city of Wierzbnik and Starachowice.
I dla nas kluczowym również elementem tych obchodów będzie przedstawienie historii i udziału społeczności żydowskiej w rozwoju Wierzbnika. Dlatego planujemy, aby te działania programowe, które będą realizowane, żeby uwzględniały bardzo istotne elementy związane z historią, kulturą, zwyczajami społeczności żydowskiej z Wierzbnika, ale również będzie to dobry moment do tego, żeby zaprezentować wszystkim mieszkańcom trudną, aczkolwiek historię. Tylko bardzo się cieszymy, że możemy dzisiaj gościć osoby, które w Starachowicach się urodziły, z które Starachowicami są związane, bo są to osoby, które stanowią pewien pomnik historii i tożsamości miasta.
It will be very important for us, the governors of the city, to introduce the historical way of the city of Starachowice and Wierzbnik. So we are very happy to have today the members of this community because you are the real monument of these times. And maybe sometimes history was not easy, but we would like to give a part in the celebration to introduce cultural and part of the living together, Polish and Jewish community at this era. So happy to have you here today to announce that, because you are the elements of this historical time.
Można powiedzieć, że obecnie jesteśmy świadkami tworzenia się nowego działu historii naszego miasta pod kątem nowej społeczności, która pojawiła się w dużych grupach w Starachowicach. Mówię tutaj o społeczności osób z Ukrainy, naszych przyjaciół, którzy uciekali i uciekają nadal przed agresją rosyjską i w Starachowicach znaleźli swoje miejsce.
We are also proud to inform you that will be opportunity to meet the members of the society, Ukrainian society, who ran away from the war and found a secure, safe place in Starachowice to be far away from the aggressors.
Obecnie około 800 osób, głównie kobiet i dzieci, znalazło swoje miejsce zamieszkanie w Starachowicach. W samym powiecie jest to liczba przekraczająca 1200 osób.
Przepraszam, jaka liczba w powiecie?
800 w Starachowicach, 1200 w powiecie.
So I would like to inform you kindly that in our city 800 people from Ukrainian people found their place and home in Starachowice, in the city of Starachowice, but in the county of Starachowice this number is about 1,200 people in the county of Starachowice.
I tak jak wspomniałem, wśród nas są osoby z Ukrainy. Jakbym mógł prosić panią Inę o przedstawienie kilku tutaj słów. Ina, if you could join to me and share with us your story, your very difficult story. Ina, she's from Kyiv, from Ukraine, and after 24th of February, she needed to change her life, and now she's a new inhabitant of our town. From the next week, she starts her new job here in Starachowice, and she will be an intercultural assistant, and her main task, I would say, her main task will be, you know, to invite and to organize some cultural meetings from the refugees to join to our community. It's very important for us to help the refugees and also, you know, to activate them and, you know, include to our community. So, Ina, the floor is yours. Okay? Thank you very much.
Доброго ранку, ми з України.
Dobrego ranka.
Now a lot of Ukrainians people in different European countries, and everyone has own history, and it's mine. It was a usual winter morning. I was drinking a tea, and suddenly I heard explosions. And Dobrze?
No, maybe it is better.
Tak?
We can't hear, so maybe come join me.
No,
Okay, yeah, sure.
Dobrze.
Please take a seat here.
There are a lot of emotions, so
It's my history, my own history. It was a usual winter morning, and I was drinking my tea, and suddenly I heard an explosions. The decision came by itself. My children maybe must be safe, and we must leave our native country right away. But where, to whom, what do I have to take? I don't know. Then I took only my children. I have two sons, a little, and documents, and we boarded an evacuation train. It took us to the border with Poland. There we were meet volunteers, and they brought us to Starachowicach. It seems that all city is worried about our fate. The doors of our new home did not close. People come to get acquainted and ask it about our needs, about our morally and materially. Then my children went to school here in Starachowicach, and I started working at the same school as the assistant for the children and their parents from Ukraine. I helped them to get along with teachers and their classmates. At one time I finished a course of Polish language. I speak a little in Polish. which was organized by the assistance of the city officials. Hospitality and open hearts of the citizen give us a chance for a new beginning in a new country, in a new city, and in a new culture. Thanks to the city administration, a project of cultural integration of different nationalities of the city was launched. The project is made at the cooperation and understanding and integration of Polish, Jews, Ukrainians, Belarusians, Finns and other nationalities represented among of the city's residents. Now we stay in Starachowicach, I and my sons, and we feel better. We feel better. Of course, every day we read news about our country, because in Ukraine I have my native sister, my mother, and every day I worried about us, about children, about citizens, about my friends. It's my story.
Thank you very much, Ina, for your speech. After this Russian aggression, around 4 million people have already crossed the Ukrainian-Polish border. Currently, around 2.5 million people still are in Poland. As I said before, the main group, there are women and children. So for us, it's very important, to find them some accommodation, to host them, to help them, support them to find a job, and also try, to engage them to our community, because we know that probably some of them need to or have to stay here in Starachowicach, because their homes are totally collapsed or destroyed by the Russian army. We know that from the September, probably a new group of incomers, refugees, cross the border also, because the winter is coming. So we know that the situation, the financial situation, economic situation in Ukraine is very bad. So we know that a lot of people will try to cross the border and stay here in Poland. So we need to support them, especially their children, find some place in primary schools and secondary schools. And try to find some financial support also, because they took with them only some luggage and documents without any devices. So, as you can see, the situation is very difficult. I have heard that you've been in Lublin. Probably you also have heard a lot of Ukrainian language. And there are a lot of 200,000 people in Lublin, so we know that in every city, in every town in Poland, we have new incomers, we have new refugees, so we need to help them, because they're our neighbors and they're our friends also. So thank you for my speech. Could someone ask for something? There's a time for questions. Feel free. Okay, thank you very much.
So that was all very moving, and thank you very much. And I'm just wondering if you could tell us a little about your hometown in Ukraine, where you're from.
I am from Kiev.
So the capital of Ukraine.
I am from Kiev, tak. And my sister live in Zhytomyr, and my mother live in Wizyta. And I have a lot of friends in different cities.
I spent last year. I spent 1 month in Kyiv, and I have to admit that this is a really beautiful city, a huge city. It's one of the biggest cities in Europe. Around 3 million people live there. You've probably heard about the Bucha, Irpień. So these are small satellite towns located in close proximity to Kyiv, and also during this war, it was some missiles in Kyiv, and some block of flats were destroyed by Russian rockets. So the situation is still very unstable in Kyiv, and I hope that Ina will join us and stay here in Starachowice, but we know that her hometown is still Kyiv, and we understand it, but we try to support her, not only her, but all women here in Starachowice. Yes.
Thank you, Ina, for sharing your story. For us in the United States, we know that the government sends ammunition, but we see it on television. I myself am second generation. My parents lost everybody and came to Israel. A Polish janitor saved my mother, took her from the ghetto. She was 16, and brought her to the partisans. To hear what you in Poland are doing now is amazing, and I thank you for hosting us and for sharing your story. We'll take it back to our schools, to our students, and I know I have your information, so if you want to bring an authentic story, Ina, thank you. Can you just share what you did, what your profession, how old are your kids?
I was a teacher in primary school in Ukraine.
It's all about teachers.
No.
How old are your kids?
My kids.
2 boys.
I have 2 boys. One of them, younger, have 6 years, and older, my son has 13 years, and no, they learn in school.
Thank you.
And now they near the sea.
Thank you. Anybody has a question? Because if not, we have a busy day in your city.
Yeah, no.
My question is more for the administration, and I'm wondering how and where does the funding come to take this influx of children into the schools and the facilities and the teachers? How is that accommodated?
About the financial support, yes. So we have some financial support from our central government, but from the first few months, from the February, March and April, so we as a local government was responsible to finance all these activities, because we need to give them not only a place in primary schools and secondary schools, but also provide them some meals, because it's very important, you know, at our schools. Now we have some financial support from the central government, from some international NGOs also, and what is very important here in Poland, because this is some kind of unusual situation, people were gathering around and try to support in every refugees, because it's from their private monies, from the private finance, they supported them, they bought a lot of things, products. Even here in Starachowice, the main group was people, our inhabitants, who helped refugees find them some accommodation, open the doors of their private homes or flats, and invite them. After 2 or 3 months, our government, they introduced some acts, so every single person who hosted refugees can take 40 zlotys, so it's around $10 US dollars per day for some accommodation during 120 days, because we haven't got, you know, any public places like dormitories here in Starachowice, so we know that there is only a chance to open some private doors, homes, and support them, you know, from that way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any question? That's it? Okay, so thank you very much. And now we start our second part of our meeting. Thank you very much.
That people are welcoming other people who need help. And help should be extended to them without question. And as unlucky these people are becoming refugees, and I know what it is like to be a refugee, I think it's very meritorious for a country like Poland to welcome so many Ukrainians in need. It's very encouraging and hopeful to see how the world is changing. There is still hope. There is still hope. And we should continue this way. Thank you.